Okay. Now it's my turn. So I'm going to take a sip of water out of my brand new mug, which is a mug that's designed by the teens that says, "Love only, forgive everything, remember who you are." I'm going to say that. My God! No editing. Rachel Bork designed this mug. Is that better? Am I doing it right now? Okay, good. So one of the things we do very importantly here at the center is to really express the need for, and the responsibility for every one of our teens and youth, and for me, it's for all of us, to really just be ourselves, to be our divine selves, the best part of ourselves. I love these lyrics. I heard a voice that told me I'm essential. How all my fears are limiting my potential. Said it's time to step into my power, so what you waiting for? Who are you waiting for? How many people do you think are not living their authentic selves? A lot, probably. How many of you are not really living your true authentic self? And I know you're all doing great. We are all doing the absolute best we can do right here in this very moment. And that's something you should absolutely believe. Even if you have proof to the contrary. You should still believe that you are doing the very best you can possibly do, because for some reason you're doing what you're doing. Something brought you to that. So you are doing and being your best self in this moment. But there's another moment about to happen. Now what are you going to do? Now who are you going to be? The song, Just Do You, means in order to do myself, to really be out in the world as me, I have to know who that is. I have to really know who that is. And for far too long, I knew myself as something. I knew myself as an actor for many, many, many years. A brilliant actor, of course, but still an actor. I knew myself as a singer-dancer. I knew myself as a triple threat. I knew myself as so many awesome things, but it still wasn't who I was. It was what I did. And what I did only succeeded based on who did it. I didn't know that back then. I thought that the things I did identified me. And I thought, bless you, that the things I did proved who I was. And that's not the case. And if I would so have loved to be a part of a church like this at that age, learning that this is the truth of who I am. I can be anything. The way I heard, I would never have been able to get up and speak the way Sydney spoke at her age, which I don't even know what that is. Is that 16? 17. She's 25. She's 17. So I would have never. How many of you would have been able to get up and speak at 17 like that with such certainty? I know you guys, you're all 17. Right. Most of us don't. So for us to say, for them to get up here and sing Just Do You, they mean it. They mean it. They do what they do, and they are who they are, and they're learning. That doesn't mean they don't make mistakes. They make mistakes. Some of them make a lot of mistakes. It's not true. It is true. But they're mistakes. We all make mistakes, right? What are mistakes? Missing the mark. Who makes the mark? You do. It's only a mistake if you've decided where the mark is and you miss it. And mistakes are important. We need to know about mistakes. So the question I asked was, how many of you are really living? I said, how many people do you think do? But I mean you. How many of you are living your most authentic self? And do you know what that is? Because I got to tell you, for me, it's fluid. It changes every day. You know, I could try to live my authentic self as a minister, but oh my God, I am so not my mother's old type idea of minister. I'm nobody's idea of minister. I'm finding that out a lot. And that's okay. You know, last night on the disco floor, I let my 1970s John Travolta sexy self out. And I just discoed the night away. And right, Martha? You should have seen us on the dance floor. And then, because it's the month of more, Martha taught me another step, which I may get her to do later in the service. A step that was really awesome. And I was like, oh my God, I have new vocabulary for all those times I disco dance. So It's not just about saying just do you and letting yourself out. It's about knowing who you are and being willing to be that and being willing to be fluid about it. Really fluid. Because guess what? What I notice is that a lot of people hold on to who they think they are, and then they feel judged, criticized when someone has something to say about it, as opposed to just staying fluid with it all. Absolutely with it all. I had such a hard time with criticism for many years. How many of you have a hard time with criticism, being criticized? Right? Get over it. It is time to get over that. Because guess what? It's just someone else's opinion. Doesn't mean it's right. I'm certain it's almost never right. But sometimes it is. And it's important. And you know, I have that little saying on my wall that says, God is speaking no matter who's talking. Not always easy to listen to. Not always easy to live. But it's true. If something's said to you in a criticizing way, you are equal to that. Isn't that what we teach? You can't just say, oh, that person, that was mean. I don't deserve that. Yeah, you do. You deserve whatever comes your way, and then you get to deal with it from your most highest level of consciousness. But all of that stuff, and I bring it up because all of that stuff, criticizing, judgment, blame, victimizing, all the victim mentality, all of that stops us from being our most authentic selves. And especially when you're trying to be someone else. And I've noticed that a lot. I do. A lot of my students, they try to get up and be someone else. They try to be an idea of what it means to be a minister or a practitioner or a student, or just try to be successful. There's no, oh look, Liza's finally here. We've been talking about you and your disco self. So it really is about, do you know who you are enough to let it out? Really let it out. So this month is all about embracing the more. And Helen already said it. And so did Sydney, really. The idea that it's not really about embracing the more so much, it's about realizing you are the more. You really are the more you are looking to express. It's living you. So how do you deal with the fact that you are more? How do you, instead of just going around saying, I'm more than I know I am, I'm more than I'm supposed to be, I know there's more. How many of you ever get frustrated with that? None of you, good. Well, I do. So I know sometimes when I'm thinking, there's more here, and that I'm like, where is the way to that more? I'm tall. I can't sneak through all the tall people. Where is the way? Where's the way to that more? And that's the frustrating part. There is no way to the more. The way is here. You have to be equal to the more. You have to be willing to be equal to whatever it is you think you want. So the title of my talk today is, Why Not You? Why not you? So it's just do you. Why not you? How many of you are still waiting for the world to give you permission to do what is yours to do? How many of you still wait for some part of you to evolve so that you can then be who you want to be? How many of you are still stuck in relationships or jobs or bodies that don't serve you? And you're just waiting to see, waiting for something to change. It's not about that. It's about you being willing to actually step in and be that very thing that you're waiting for. So, when I was in my, I guess I was in my 30s when this happened. So when I was in my 30s, how many of you have seen my video, New Hampshire Nights? Okay, if you haven't, I cannot fathom how you haven't seen it, but if you haven't seen it, go home and watch it. Just put in New Hampshire Nights, James Mellon, and you will see my 30-something-year-old body. Yeah. Kissing girls, which drives my son crazy, and daughter. They're like, oh, every time we see you kiss a girl, it's so strange. I didn't find it strange at the time. But you just go watch it. It's a video of me singing a song that I wrote, and it was produced by one of Aris's top producers at the time. And they shot it with film on film. They spent a fortune making this video for me to have my debut as an artist, as a singer-songwriting artist. It never was released because it just was never released. Don't even care anymore why. I do, but I'm working on it. So. So, At the debut party of this video, and it really is a beautiful video and it's a beautiful song, at the debut party, packed house, the video is being shown everywhere, so there's me everywhere, like my perfect party. And at one point, I was standing watching myself on the screen, and I heard a conversation behind me. And it went something like this. Someone said to my agent, I don't get it. I don't think it's very special. Why him? Why would they spend all this money on him? And I'm sitting there going, can't even believe this. Who invited this person? And I knew who it was, and it was also a male singer, and I was like, he's just jealous. And you go through all that stuff, right? And I hear my agent say, without even getting into the conversation, he says, why not him? He said, I think that's really the question. Why not him? Why shouldn't it be him? I still remember that day. I remember that moment. I remember the way I felt. I remember also now going back, I can tap into a part of me that actually believed the guy that was saying it more than my agent. I remember thinking, standing there, being so angry, but now I know that anger was all about, I actually wondered that myself. How is this really going to get out there? Is it really going to get released? Am I going to be a star? Is this going to really launch me? Is this going to be the thing that does it? And there was a part of me that was not equal to that. So I can give you all the reasons why that wasn't released, but I can give you the most important reason why it wasn't released. I wasn't equal to it. I absolutely wasn't equal to it being released. I was equal to it being seen by everybody after that. And now all of you will watch it today. Please don't forget. But that's the way it works. Why not you? Well, you know the answer to that question? You. That's it. There's no other answer to the question, why not you, than you. You, yourself, and you. That's it. We teach the mental equivalent here. We teach that there is so much more in this world to experience. Not to be, not more to have, more to experience, because you already are the more. You just may not know it yet. And you may have limitations of what you know. You may have decided it's not you. Maybe it is that other person. And I know I'm looking at a bunch of teenagers here who are all in the prefaces of stepping into life. And most of us adults know that if we had the opportunity to go back to where they are, I feel like I'm giving a graduation thing now, but if we had the opportunity to go back and be where they are right now, from where we are, oh my God, wouldn't we do things somewhat differently? Wouldn't we know? I'd know so much more now. I'd know it's about me, it's not about everybody else. Although I've always known it was about me, but in a different way. Now when I say it's about me, I mean the mental equivalent, not my ego self. So when I look at them and I think to myself, they are all on the precipice of stepping into a world with a consciousness that has the ability to say, as Sydney said, this is my world. This is who I am. I am greatness on demand. I am everything I ever could possibly want. I have everything inside of me to meet every challenge, every single idea, every single exciting journey there is for me to have. I have everything I need. They can enter into the world that way. And it doesn't matter what the world shows up with. Like, oh, sorry, we can't give you that. Oh, we can't do that. Really? Fine, I'll go to another door. I'll get out of line and get into a different line. I'll climb through this hole here. I know who I am. Nothing's stopping me. Right? So that's who they can be. But they can also be sitting there with some of their own limitations. They can be sitting there saying, oh, I'm going out into a world where there's going to be so many of me. What's going to happen? I don't know. Will it really be my turn? I'm going to have to audition, and there's going to be other people. And guess what? Here's the thing about auditions. Whoever gets the part is equal to it. It's as simple as that. And sometimes the person that's equal to it is not as talented as the person that didn't get it. That's the way it works. And if you're not equal to it in that moment, it doesn't mean that you don't have everything you need. It means there's something better for you to be equal to. And when you walk through life like that, when you show up at every audition, every interview, every relationship, when you show up from the position of, here's what I have to offer. Want it? Great. Don't? Sayonara. Really, if you walk through life that way and not being apologetic and not trying to judge yourself and compare yourself to everybody else, if you walk through your life saying, why not me? And understand there's no reason why I'm not the one that lives my life to the fullest. That's what this is all about. So when we have all the reasons and all the judgments and all the backstory that tells us why not, it's time for us to realize there's only one thing ever going on, and that is your conscious mind, your decision to be who you truly, authentically are, and to live from that truth, to really live from that truth, and not let anyone or anything hold you back. And that brings up the idea of entitlement. Are you entitled to the more that life has to offer? Are you entitled? Entitlement gets such a bad rap. I grew up with people saying to me, God, you're just so entitled. And I remember feeling diminished by that. You seem so entitled, like everything should be just given to you. Well, you know what? That type of entitlement doesn't work because everything shouldn't be given to you. You are entitled to everything, but you're not entitled to the experience of it unless you are equal to it. That's the way it works. So you have to know you're entitled to it all because of who you are, not because of what you do. And then understand that if you want the experience of success, if you want the experience of money, if you want the experience of love, if you want the experience of creative expression, if you want to experience life in a way that, as Will said during his meditation, that at the end of your life, you slide into home plate used up, if that's what you want, then you have to be equal to it because you are entitled to it. But as far as the experiential side of this, you're only entitled to experience what you are equal to mentally. And when I say you're equal to it mentally, it means that you have beliefs, you know who you are, that you just do you. You don't do someone else's idea of you. You do you. You do the God you that you are. So I'm teaching this book, Big Magic, by Elizabeth Gilbert. And the class is terrific, and the 20-some-odd people that are in the class, I'm so grateful for you. The mind and the consciousness that goes on in that class is just beautiful. It's just a continuation of where we've been all year. So I have an Elizabeth Gilbert quote I'd like to read for you, but it's not from Big Magic. It's this. You were given life, and it is your duty, and also your entitlement as a human being to find something beautiful within it, no matter how slight. Find something beautiful within it, no matter how slight. The best way you can do you, the best way you can get all the blockage and all the obstacles out of the way, the best way you can find the you that is just begging to get out is to start seeing the good. Stop seeing what doesn't work. Stop focusing on what isn't happening. Stop looking back and wishing you had done something else. Let it all go. I don't care if it's an old job. I don't care if it's a, major label music video that they never released. I don't care if it's Twyla Tharp deciding at the last minute I shouldn't star in Singing in the Rain. It doesn't matter what it is. Let it go. Actually, it's all part of who you are. It all helped you become who you are in this moment, whether you like it or not. And I'm going to suggest that you like it. Because if you really want to just do you, if you really want to be who you are, and I believe the word you used was should in your quote, should be, and I don't like to should all over myself, but I do think the word should sometimes is a call to action. So if you really want to be that, start finding what's good in the world. Start finding what's good in your partner, in your husband, in your wife, in your lover. Start finding what's good in your brother or your sister. Start finding what's good in your relatives. Start finding what's good in every single person on the planet. It doesn't mean we don't get to have opinions. We do. But start with the good. And don't have opinions that drag you down unless they're opinions that you know you can do something about. Otherwise, it's just energy dragging you down. So this month of more, for me, it was all about arriving at the home plate, sliding in with an understanding that there is so much more for me to be, so much more for me to do. It's not an accident that we had a board meeting this month where Sean Scanlon came in with a PowerPoint presentation of the more that this center needs to step into. And it was very powerful. It was a big call to action, and it was very moving to see that. And there are moments that I feel that, and I'm like, wow, there's so much more for this to be. And I have to remember it's not for me to do it all. It's for me to be equal to it all. so that it all literally, as Ernest Holmes says, whatever's needed comes from wherever it needs to come from. That's how you live your life, from that calling. See the good, recognize the good, acknowledge the good, and this line in the song that I love so much is, every adventure needs someone to live it. And I loved watching Dell when she sang that line, because I know that this woman has an amazing career ahead of her. All she's going to have to do is decide to live that adventure. And more importantly, to let that adventure live you. Every single one of us has an adventure inside of us, wanting to live us. That means that we have to get the hell out of the way and let it. That surrender moment, that thing about surrender, Reverend Rita called me this week and said, I just read the most amazing book on surrender. I think you should read it. And I said, are you telling me something? And she said, I am. You should read it. So she said, and then 5 minutes later, she wrote me a text and she said, I already bought it for you. It'll be there Monday. That's the universe. There's something inside of you that wants to live you. I know there's something inside of me telling me constantly, get out of the way. Stop trying to control this. I want to live you bigger. I want to live you fuller. I want to live you with more passion. I want to live you with more excitement. I want to live you with more talent, even the more talent than you think you have, and that's considerable. But I do. I believe in my talent. I know how talented I am, and I also know I don't use as much as I could even possibly begin to use. Any of us, all of us. So this month of more, see the good, find the good, but start in the mirror and see the good. Find the good. Live that good. Know who you are, live who you are, and allow all that greatness to live you from the inside out. Namaste.